Chapter 16, The Verdun Project. Never before in the long military history of the human race has there been such fighting as that which took place on the hills and in the valleys around Verdun. It seems inconceivable that men of flesh and blood could endure such deeds and experiences as those which marked this amazing campaign. One who has been over Hill 304 and Dead Man's Hill has seen the havoc wrought. An unparalleled slaughter of men and maiming of bodies occurred here. The soil of the land were shot and torn into hopeless ruin. This soil was poor even before the devastation came to it. The trenches and shell holes left it 7 times worse. The northern portion of the Argonne forest suffered in similar fashion. The main line of trenches running north of Verdun through the forest was made a desolate waste. The trees being shot often into frayed wood fiber. Our mission was officially to reconstruct. Henceforth, Verdun and Argonne will always be associated with the Quakers. That being shared, the state of the ground is impossible for years to come, in view of the presence of unexploded bombs. Large numbers of German prisoners were also assigned to this section and were engaged primarily in rebuilding of roads. The work with the German prisoners was a strange and interesting experience, both for our workers and for the prisoners themselves. They worked for us on their honor and so without guard. We agreed that if ever one of them escaped, we would immediately return the entire group to the French authorities and cease to use them further. The prisoners were told this fact that if anyone took advantage of the larger freedom which we gave them, the work with us would come to an end. They promised to play fair. Near these roads we were building, the army had built a new railroad through the Argonne forest and across the area to Verdun. At 5 depots there were piled enormous dumps of material and supplies. The material covered many acres at each dump and consisted of lumber, bar iron, steel, and miles upon miles of barbed wire. But it was quickly discovered that this old rusty wire was useless. It could not be taken down nor melted. It could not be cut and was a waste of time. The only thing to be done with it was to cut it up and bury it where the process of rust would someday eat it up. I shall like to close this chapter with the following words: ever since I was a little child, the building of cathedrals has made me marvel. Nobody ever built a cathedral. The man that started it was often dead before the first story went up. He dreamed a splendid dream and died. The cathedral went on. Every man in the whole city helped build. And every woman and every child helped carry stones. 200 years from now they will not remember our names. They will not have a roll which lists every name. But this thing which you are doing will never cease. For, when you translate love into life, when you become organs of God for a piece of service, nothing can obliterate it. Tonight, I feel like when I was in the Notre Dame, an emotion that throbs through my whole being. Thank God we can have our little share in this age in translating the love of God, not with guns, not with bombs, but into terms of human service.